A novella of stagnation. The old Chevrolet Impala, christened the Coffin, years ago in a morbid college joke, smelled exactly as it always had. Stale coffee, cheap gasoline, and the ghosts of 3 lifetimes. Ethan drove, his knuckles white against the steering wheel, his gaze fixed on the endless ribbon of asphalt spooling out beneath the relentless Arizona sun. In the passenger seat, Maya chewed her lip, the sunlight catching the gold hoop of her earring as she scrolled impatiently through a phone that registered no bars. In the back, Liam, the most restless and, recently, the most fragile of the trio, was asleep, his head resting awkwardly against the window, one hand clutching a dog-eared copy of a hiking guide. The destination was arbitrary. Arid Mesa National Monument, a place they'd promised to visit a decade ago, a place known for its crushing heat and dead quiet. This wasn't a vacation, it was a reckoning. 10 years after graduating, their lives had splintered. Ethan trapped in corporate finance, Maya running an underground art gallery that barely broke even, and Liam, well, Liam had been quiet for too long, his eyes too distant. This road trip, a desperate 2,000-mile loop across the American Southwest, was their last-ditch effort to prove they still fit together, or to finally accept that they didn't. Still nothing? Ethan asked, his voice gravelly from hours of silence. Maya sighed, dropping the phone into the cup holder. No signal since Flagstaff. We're officially unplugged, just like you wanted. I didn't want it, Maya. I wanted a reunion, not a digital detox seminar. Liam's still out, she noted, glancing back. He hasn't slept like that in months. Maybe the road is good for him. Ethan glanced in the rearview mirror. Liam's pale skin and the dark circles beneath his eyes were alarming. Liam had always been the spirit of their group, the one with the limitless energy and the endless ideas. Now, he was a vessel, empty and waiting. They'd driven for nearly 9 hours. The interstate was an artery of civilization, but they needed an exit. Ethan pulled a crumpled, antique map from the glove compartment, a relic Liam had insisted on bringing, claiming modern GPS stripped the soul from travel. See. Ethan stabbed a finger at a faded line cutting across the desert floor. The state route cuts through here, saves us about 4 hours and avoids Phoenix. It connects back to the interstate near the border. You sure that road still exists? Maya asked, skeptical. The map says it does. State Route 173. Let's make this trip count for something, right? A real detour. He took the exit, and the world shifted. The 6-lane freeway narrowed abruptly to 2 lanes of cracked asphalt. The smooth drone of highway traffic was replaced by the low, insistent rumble of the Impala's old engine. The billboards disappeared, replaced by endless fields of brittle, sun-scorched scrub brush. Liam stirred as the car hit a rough patch. He blinked, adjusting to the dim light filtering through the dust-coated window. Where are we? He mumbled. Going off the grid, Lee, Maya said, forcing a cheerful tone. Shortcut to the mesa. Liam didn't reply immediately. He traced a line on the grimy glass with his finger, then looked out at the desolate landscape. It feels quieter out here, he said, his voice flat. Like the world is holding its breath. Maddox's gas and grub around dusk. They pulled up to a structure that seemed determined to melt back into the desert. Maddox's gas and grub. The single fuel pump looked corroded, the corrugated iron walls of the store were blistered by heat, and the fluorescent sign flickered, throwing a sickly yellow light onto the cracked pavement. Ethan got out to pump gas. Maya stretched her legs, scanning the horizon. There was nothing. No other cars, no homes, just the faint outline of jagged peaks far in the distance. Liam remained in the back seat, staring at the map. Look at this, Liam said, his voice low. He held up the antique map, pointing a shaky finger at a spot just past Maddox's. Where Route 173 continued, a thin, hand-drawn line branched off, marked simply, the Sunken Road. The line plunged into a deep, and labeled canyon system. "That's not an official road, Lee," Ethan said, running his card through the antiquated pump. "It's in the oldest section of the map. Look at the compass rose, it's hand-drawn ink. This isn't a route, it's a warning. Or a secret. Let's stick to the road we know, huh?" Maya interjected, unnerved. Ethan paid the ancient, silent man behind the counter. The man had translucent skin stretched tight over sharp bones, and his eyes were the color of stagnant pond water. He smelled of mothballs and stale grease. "Going far?" the attendant rasped, his voice sounding like sand grinding against stone. "Arid Mesa," Ethan replied. "Taking 173. The old man's face didn't move, but a shadow passed through his eyes. "That road, she moves slow. Good road, if you got time to burn. Don't go near the Sunken Road, turn off, though. Folks who go down there, they ain't in a hurry to get back." "It's just an old trail, right?" Ethan asked, trying to sound casual. "Ain't no trail," the attendant whispered, leaning over the counter. "It's a stopper. Momentum. That's what it steals. That's what they want." He didn't elaborate, just bagged their lukewarm sodas and retreated into the gloom. Back in the car, the unsettling exchange hung in the air. A mile down the road, there it was. Route 173 continued straight, but a barely visible dirt track veered sharply to the left. The only marker was a moss-covered, splintered wooden post, tilted dangerously, with two words burned deep into the wood: Sunken Road. It felt less like a signpost and more like a tombstone. Ethan stopped the car. The Impala's headlights cut weak, pale beams into the gathering darkness. "It's probably just an old mining path," Ethan said. "He said it steals momentum," Liam repeated from the back, his voice disturbingly calm. "Maybe it's what we need. To stop. To just be for a moment. Doesn't that sound good, Ethan? No progress. No future. Just quiet." The look in Liam's eyes, the desperate, vacant hunger for cessation, pushed Ethan over the edge. He needed to shake Liam out of it. He needed a distraction. "Fine," Ethan declared, turning the wheel. The car plunged onto the dirt track, the tires spitting gravel. "We'll drive a mile, take a picture, and prove the crazy old man wrong. Then we go to the mesa. Deal." The perpetual twilight, the Sunken Road was immediately unlike any road they had ever driven. It wasn't just remote, it felt sequestered. The trees, ancient, twisted junipers and pines, grew impossibly close, their heavy, dark boughs trapping the remaining daylight. It wasn't night, but a perpetual, heavy twilight, as if the sun had simply stalled in its final hour of setting. The air grew thick and heavy, pressing down on the car. They drove for 20 minutes, and the road only became narrower, deeper, almost a trench cut into the earth. The GPS on Maya's phone, miraculously, was still showing their position, but the line representing the Sunken Road was jagged and confused, flickering like a faulty neon light. "We should turn back," Maya said, clutching the armrest. "We're almost out of space to turn around," Ethan pointed out, frustration masking a growing unease. "We need a clearing. Give it 5 more minutes." That's when they saw it. A rusted hulk of a car, a 1970s sedan, half buried in the scrub beside the road. Its paint was bleached to white powder, and the shattered windshield was covered in dusty, dry spiderwebs. Ethan stopped the Impala next to it. Liam was already scrambling out of the back seat. The three stood by the shell of the sedan. On the passenger seat, there was an open notebook. Ethan carefully picked it up. The pages were yellowed and brittle, filled with elegant, looping cursive. "August 17th. I tried to walk up the road myself. I walked for hours. I passed the ruined cabin, the one with the cracked stovepipe. I kept walking. I passed the ruined cabin again. I think I walked maybe 50 feet and came back around. The distance is meaningless. August 20th. I keep trying to leave. Every path brings me back to the car. My watch is running, but the shadows don't lengthen. Sam hasn't returned. I think he's still walking, somewhere just out of sight. I think the road is just letting him walk. Momentum. Ethan slammed the notebook shut. That's enough. We're leaving. Wait, Liam said, his voice a strained whisper. He was staring at the ground near the old car's rear tire. Imprinted in the hard, dry earth, were two sets of footprints. One set led away from the car, and the other, deeper set of prints, led directly back to the driver's side door. They were perfectly aligned, heel to toe, as if the person had walked away, and then walked directly back into their own tracks. The tracks stopped at the car door, and then nothing. They raced back to the Impala and piled in. Ethan spun the wheel, and the car fishtailed, turning back the way they came. The engine roared, but the Impala felt heavy, sluggish, as if it were dragging an anchor. They drove for 5 minutes, pushing 60 miles per hour. Ethan scanned the sides of the road for the tilted, splintered wooden sign. There, Maya yelled, pointing. Ethan slammed on the brakes. They had found a wooden fence, long collapsed, its wire tangled in the brush. That's the exact fence post we passed 5 minutes ago, Maya whispered, her eyes wide with terror. Ethan reversed, then accelerated forward, watching the odometer. He drove for 3 minutes, then slowed, watching the fence again. It was the same one. They were looping. The road isn't moving us forward, Liam said, a horrifying sense of understanding settling over him. It's absorbing the effort. It's stealing the motion. Doesn't that sound good, Ethan? No more striving. The three of them drove for 2 hours, trying everything. Every attempt to leave the immediate canyon area brought them back to the same points. The rusted sedan, the patch of tangled fence, and an impossibly gnarled juniper tree with a white scar on its trunk. The town of Silent witnessed the loop finally broke, not with speed, but with exhaustion. Around what felt like midnight, the Impala coasted over a rise, and the trees fell away, replaced by the crushing openness of a high desert plain. The perpetual twilight was still present, but below them, in the bowl of the plain, was a single cluster of lights, a town. It wasn't marked on the map, nor did it register on the confused GPS. It was a dusty, wind-battered settlement consisting of a few storefronts, a diner, and a 2-story motel with a flickering neon sign reading the halt. Ethan coasted into the town square, the Impala's rumbling engine echoing in the silence. The town was entirely empty. Too empty. They stopped in front of the diner. A bell above the door chimed as Ethan pushed the door open. Inside, the horror was immediate and baffling. Every booth was set. Behind the counter, a pot of coffee was steaming softly on a burner. The clock on the wall was stopped at 3:07. But there was no one. On the counter sat a half-eaten slice of blueberry pie and a cooling cup of coffee. Whatever had been happening here, it had stopped seconds ago. Everything was recent, refrigerated, and completely untouched. The only thing missing was the motion, the life. They found the town's library, a small, dusty building next to the diner. In the back room, they discovered the town's digital archive, a single, aging desktop computer, still running, logged into a simple, local network. On the screen was a single open document, a combined journal of the town's residents. Ethan and Maya crowded around the screen, reading the last entries. Entry 44. July 3rd. We lost the Jensen twins. They tried to leave in the middle of the night, driving like maniacs. They should have known. The road doesn't care about speed, only direction. They kept moving, but the road just folded around them. They woke up back in the church basement, driving into a wall. They aren't moving anymore. They're just waiting. Entry 46. August 10th. The whispers are getting worse. The road isn't just outside. It's here. It feeds on purpose. If we stop, we vanish, absorbed into the landscape's perpetual state. If we have a destination, the road takes it, and then it takes us. We have to pretend we are moving towards something, but never get there. We are silent witnesses. Final entry, September 27th. Just hours ago, a new group arrived. 3 people. They came in fast, looking for a way out. They have momentum. The road is pleased. We fulfilled our purpose. They are here. The road wants. The text cut off. Ethan ripped the monitor's power cable out of the wall. The sudden silence was deafening. The road isn't a place, Maya whispered, tears streaming down her face. It's a predator. It traps travelers with purpose, and it holds them here until they're absorbed into the loop. They turned to Liam. He was standing by the library window, looking out at the stagnant town. A beatific, horrifying smile was fixed on his face. It knows us, Ethan, Liam murmured. It knows we came here to stop pretending. It knows we were done moving forward long before we hit the road. It just made it real. The reverse gear. Ethan grabbed Liam's arm, but Liam shrugged him off with unnatural strength. Don't you feel it? Liam said. No more deadlines. No more guilt. We can just wait here forever. Perpetual twilight. The road doesn't want us to wait, Liam, Maya pleaded. It wants us to lose our direction, and then it takes the rest. They dragged him, stumbling, back toward the Impala. Ethan jammed the key into the ignition. It turned over once, twice, and died. It knows we're trying to leave, Maya screamed. Ethan looked at the digital clock on the dashboard, 3:07 a.m. But the date was correct. September 28th. The time is moving, but the visible time isn't. Maya gasped. The road is holding the town in one moment, but not us. Yet, the road steals forward motion. Fine. We'll go backward. He turned to Maya. Get out. Go to the rear of the car. We're going to push it backward. We're going to defy the linear movement of the road. Liam, now locked inside, simply smiled. I'm staying. I found my stop sign. Ethan and Maya braced themselves against the trunk of the heavy Impala. The low, subsonic vibration of the road, a guttural grinding, began to pulse through the ground. With a final heave, they managed to budge the car backward, an inch, then 2. The moment the car rolled 3 feet backward, the engine roared to life. Ethan scrambled back into the driver's seat. He slammed the gearshift into reverse and floored the accelerator. As they shot backward out of the town square, a horrific, soundless ripple emanated from the motel sign. It was the road's presence made manifest, a void of motion demanding stillness. The blackness clung to the car, and then, with a sharp, sickening snap, the Impala broke free. Liam, Maya cried, looking into the back seat. Liam was sitting ramrod straight, his eyes wide and unblinking. His body was stiff, and a fine, red dust, like the dust in the abandoned sedan, was beginning to settle on his skin, coating him like a new finish. He was turning into a piece of the town, a silent witness. I'm sorry, Maya, Ethan choked out. He kept the car in reverse, driving backward out of the town square. The car shot backward up the hill, back into the canyon. When the car finally hit the main state Route 173, the sun, a proper, glaring ball of fire, appeared abruptly, scorching the landscape with brutal clarity. The Sunken Road turned off, The splintered wooden sign was gone. The dust remembers they pulled over miles down the interstate, the Impala shuddering. Ethan cut the engine. The sound of normal traffic on the highway, the drone of planes high overhead. It was all overwhelming, a symphony of progress and motion. Maya was weeping. Ethan sat silently, staring at the empty back seat. Liam's book lay open on the floor, face down. They drove in silence to the arid mesa, their destination, and turned around the moment they arrived. They returned home, not as friends on a reunion, but as two survivors burdened by a terrible, shared knowledge. Ethan looked down at his hand gripping the steering wheel. Embedded in the skin, just above the knuckle of his index finger, was a single, fine grain of red dust. He tried to rub it off, but it wouldn't move. It was fixed there, a tiny, permanent reminder of the town that had swallowed his friend. They never spoke of Liam or the Sunken Road. They tried to return to their lives, but the momentum was gone. Their careers sputtered, their relationships frayed, and every day felt like a repetition of the last, trapped in their own personal twilight. Months later, Ethan went into his garage. He noticed something wrong with the Impala. He walked to the driver's side. The odometer, which had been frozen since they returned, was now subtly different. It had registered 3 new miles. Ethan backed away, slamming the garage door shut, locking the car, locking the dust, locking the memory of Liam inside. Later that day, Maya called him, her voice a dry, desperate rasp. "Ethan," she said, "I just passed the motel on the freeway. The one near my gallery. The clock in the lobby. It's stopped." "At what time?" Ethan asked, already knowing the answer. 3:07, Maya whispered. "The dust is here, Ethan. The road found a way to follow. It's not about the place. It's about the lack of direction. And we're still not moving forward." Ethan hung up the phone and walked to the mirror. He looked at the red dust grain fixed in his skin. He realized the terrifying truth. The road didn't need the Impala anymore. It had secured its new silent witnesses, and now, it was slowly beginning to build its next town, one stolen moment at a time, on the boundless, relentless interstate of the American road. The horror wasn't the road they traveled, but the destination they had lost. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment and turn on notifications if you enjoyed the video so you never miss an upload.